Welcome to the Anti-Blueprint Project Volume 2, exploring unconventional routes to happiness and success. What started as a LinkedIn post, which became a blog, and finally a book, is back for its second edition. We'll be meeting interesting people who carved out their own niche in their career, where at some point they will have had to tread their own path to find their way. I'm Jonathan Weaver, marketeer, writer, and public speaker who's worked with DB, Burton Snowboards, and Nike, amongst others. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. In this week's episode of the Anti-Blueprint Project, we're meeting with Emilie Uttrup, a friend of mine from Denmark. She's one of the most inspiring people I know who's overcome some huge personal challenges from her time as an athlete to now work with brands including Red Bull, the World Surfing League, Corona, and most recently, she moved to work into the world of Formula One. Somewhere along the way, she found time to do her own TED Talk. She's an amazing surfer to go with it as well. I was really excited to chat to Emilie, as she is one of the most driven people I know. Enjoy the episode. How was your weekend? Let's start there.
My weekend was great. I'm back in Odiseida for the first time in 5 months.
Yeah, so you missed 5 months of horrible weather and you came back in time for glassy conditions and good surf.
Yeah, I timed it well.
Timed it very well. Board riders Friday night as well?
Yeah, I did the whole experience.
Yeah.
Back to the OG times.
Amazing.
Board riders, surf all day, beach time.
And how long did you live in Portugal for?
Almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. It's been my home for almost 10 years. So
Wow.
big move last year.
Where did you live before you were in Portugal?
So I was 1 year in Australia, then I was 1 year back in Denmark, and then 1 year in Australia again. Mm-hmm. And then I was like 10 months back in Denmark before I moved here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was your pro surf career when you in Australia? Was that it?
No, that was more here, I think.
Okay.
that started like all the competitions stuff that started when I was here.
Nice. And so you said last year, November, you left Portugal and you moved to Zurich, right?
Yeah. So left November 24th.
Yeah.
That was the day I packed everything up and left. Yeah.
And how? So first of all, maybe explain why you left Portugal. Where have you gone? And what? Well, we know where you've gone, but why did you move?
So I moved because I got a new job opportunity to work for one of the Formula One teams, mm-hmm. and that required me to relocate to Zurich. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it seemed like a great opportunity, and I think I was kind of ready for a new challenge, and after being here so many years, I was maybe also ready to try something new. Mm-hmm. So I jumped at that opportunity and packed my apartment up here and moved to Zurich.
Amazing. And was that decision? I can assume that decision was quite hard to leave. Yeah, as you say, surfing every day, hanging out with friends at night, working remote. Was that difficult in terms of like a difficult question for you to answer as to like whether it's the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think it was not a decision that just came from one day to the other. I think it's something that was like underway for a long time, and mm-hmm. I had knew for a long time there was something missing. There was like some challenge that I wanted to pursue. I just hadn't figured out what it was yet, you know, and I've been journaling a lot about it. I started, networking a lot, like also outside the surf world, different sports. I knew I wanted to try to work with something that was like a bigger storytelling platform. Like as much as I love surfing, I just wanted to try that out. And then I also spent all of last summer in Denmark. So I feel like I had already been away from here for a while and already like thought about what my next step was. And so when that opportunity came, it was a bit easier for me to take the decision and be like, okay, I'm ready for it.
Amazing. So I think that's why I wanted to actually speak to you today, because of all the people I know, you're probably one of the most motivated people I've seen to figure something out and then go and get after it, which is really impressive. So for people at home who would like to go and work in Formula One, for example, how did you get such a job? And I mean, first of all, what do you do and who with? Maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, so right now I work with the Audi Revolut F1 team. My role is social media and content lead. So basically everything you see on the social media platform for the Audi Revolut F1 team goes through me. You know, I help build that whole storytelling around race weekends, and you know, I'm quite close with the drivers, what content we're making with them, all this stuff. And yeah, I'm like almost 5 months in now, and it's really exciting. But you know, I think my journey to here has been long, and I've been, you know, involved in sport my whole life. And you know, before I also did very exciting things, and maybe similar things, but in the surf world. And I think they, you know, build me up to where I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of tangibly, like, so you applied for the job or someone called you, or how did that go?
I applied, actually.
You applied?
It was, yeah, I just, you know, as I told you before, I had this urge for change and and then suddenly it popped up as one of these like recommendations on LinkedIn. And I looked and like I went and read the description. And I was like, wow, they're describing me, you know.
Yeah.
But already saw that there was so many applicants, so I was also like, okay, it might be a bit of a long shot.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, and I put in my application, and then like a few weeks after I got contacted, and then and it was like a very long process, and then suddenly I was at the last interview, and I was like, damn, am I doing this? Am I blowing up my whole life? Am I moving to a different country again and stuff? And then, yeah, I did.
Wow. And so then I suppose for context, because a lot of that work you're doing now is storytelling, etc. To prepare yourself for this, you worked in the surf world. You were involved with the 100-foot wave documentary as, I should know what you did, producer?
No, I was like, I wasn't like doing the show itself. I was doing all the external content for like that went out on like social platforms, running all that. So I was working with that, and then also with Red Bull surfing.
Okay.
And I was like kind of doing a bit of similar thing and running all the socials, like the storytelling, being really close with the athletes, you know, doing interviews with the athletes, deciding how, you know, okay, we have this footage, how do we mix it with something, how can we frame a question to an athlete that we can use this in an interesting way and stuff like that. So working really close with the editors and stuff like that on getting all of that. And
what, because Red Bull obviously is sort of the very best at this, 100-foot wave has won Oscars, Emmys? Several Emmys. And then obviously Formula One has kind of repositioned itself through content. Like, what do you think brands, industries can learn from those three examples?
I think there's a lot to take, but I think first of all, I think it's the whole storytelling. And I think it's like, for me, is like people don't really connect with content or with products or something like that unless they connect with a story, right?
Yeah.
Or they connect with the people behind. And I think, for example, if you take 100-foot wave, why I think that show is such a success is that it really, you get so deep into the story of all these different characters that even though you like, there's so many people, there's big fans of the show who have nothing, you know, who knows nothing about surfing, but they find that super interesting because there's some things that is really relatable, but also you get like, you know, for that show, they filmed, you know, every day for years to get like 6 episodes, right? So you really get all the most intimate moments of everything. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's also what like take something like Drive to Survive. I think, you know, that was when I got super into F1 was, you know, seeing that and all the people behind it, the characters. So for me, I think that whole like storytelling around it, is for me what makes it great.
It is interesting because with 100-foot wave, like the story of Garrett McNamara getting, I don't know, an email or something from some local bodyboarders that you should come and surf this wave, and then almost going on like a pilgrimage for, I don't know, 10, 15 years and being accepted into sort of Portuguese surf culture and, well, big wave culture. It's amazing because, you do go on a journey with him and you see the ups, you see the downs. There was one episode where I don't know if it was his cousin who surfed and then got like, I don't know, had a wipeout and just ended up at Praia Norte somewhere. And when
CJ, it's Nicole's brother.
It's and for you, because obviously you're out on the jet skis, you're out when it's all happening. Like watching it on TV, you just have like my heart rate is crazy the whole time watching it. How is it when you're actually in the channel on a jet ski and there's people like on 100-foot waves and stuff?
Well, I've only been on the channel on a big day like a few times.
That's more than me, Emilie. That's
fine. But obviously it's insane. Like it's, and I think also me, we're often standing on the cliff as well with the radios, with the filmers and the spotters who spot like, oh, there's a big wave coming, or like, help the guys when they're like have to go in and save someone, and you just see how it's like a team effort, right? Like to get that huge wave is like a team effort, and it's like everything goes so fast.
Yeah.
And you just need to be ready to adapt and stuff like that. And I think so that was super interesting, both with Red Bull and 100-foot wave to see that, and also like, for example, with 100-foot wave, how they run that production and how they just had to be ready for anything all the time. Yeah,
and I think, as you say as well, they film all winter long, and when you watch the documentary, you see like one of those days where it's a massive waves and maybe the sun's out and it looks good. But for you personally, like you must have spent many days up there in the rain and the wind, because you don't get massive waves without bad weather, right? So how was that, like spending a whole winter? You were up there for 3 seasons on and off, right?
Yeah, 3 seasons. Like, so I would drive up like at least once a week, So it's also, you see all of that, and you maybe see in the documentary, you maybe see like 2 big days in SRA, but like
you've driven up there every week all winter long.
Yeah, and there's been a big swell every week, and sometimes something happens, sometimes nothing, sometimes the forecast is wrong. It's a lot of planning and a lot of just filming, also like frustration, and I think that's also what's, when you're coming back to this, what makes it so great is that they show everything, they show the disappointments, the wins, not just all the glory of the sport, like they show everything behind it as well.
And, for the athletes who are up there, because there's like Laura, Nick, like those guys, that's what they commit their whole winter to nowadays, right? Like that. They're not on the world tour, they're just doing that thing. So that's sort of 5 months of dedication pretty much, right? Yeah, or like, but then they will also always be ready to be like, oh, there's a big swell coming in America, on Hawaii or something like that. So they're just always, on the hunt for that big swell, right? Yeah. So it's like, as the production crew or Red Bull or whatever who want to tell those story, you always have to be ready and always have to have your eyes and ears to what's happening. And talking of people who are already ready for some big waves, yourself, definitely a better surfer than me, definitely a bigger frother than me. Did you surf? Have you tow surfed at Nazare? Yes, but on a small day. That's all right. How small is a small day though? I don't know. It was like you look at it and you're used to seeing it so big. So you see it that day and you're like, oh, I could paddle that's that. Fine. That's easy. But you come out on a jet ski and suddenly you're on the wave and someone, and you can't you can't not go. And so, that was definitely a cool experience. Like, I don't know how big it was. Maybe, I think the forecast was 10 to 15 foot. Yeah. Yeah. So it was still like when you got one, it was still exciting. And I got one pounding in the end. So, you did? Yeah. And where did you end up? Like near the rocks or Praia Norte? No, just like, because you have the vest on, right? Did you pull it? Well, I had one that was already blown up. So there's different types. Okay. So I had one that's already blown up. And then, I just
like it's weird getting pounded with that on because you kind of stay on top of the white water.
Yeah.
So like it takes 2 seconds and I was on the beach.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. So you can't duck dive, you can't swim to the bottom. You just take it straight to the face.
Yeah,
okay.
and just into the beach.
Okay.
Yeah, and then because you don't surf with a leash, right? So your board also ends up on the beach. So you have to go to the beach anyway.
And you surfed a massive board, or how big was it?
No, because the tow boards are small. They're
they are?
super small but heavy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I surfed just one of the guys' tow board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you swapped dark winter, rainy, windy days in Nazare for how many Formula One races have you been to so far this year? And I assume, seeing from Australia on your Instagram, it's been a nice, welcome, warm winter for you.
Yeah, so far there's only been 3. So I've been to 3 races. So nice. Australia, China, or Shanghai, and Japan.
Okay.
And, Suzuka.
And how was your first experience? Australia was your first one, right?
Yeah.
How was that as an experience?
It was really cool. Like, obviously being with a new team and everything was really exciting. And Gabby scoring points on that first race. It was a really, really cool experience. And then I think for me, also being in Australia, I haven't been there for a while, seeing familiar faces from the surf world there in the paddock, it was really nice.
And how is it to step into, because I feel like anytime you go to a new sport, business, culture, if you're the newbie kind of thing, or noob, as my kids would now call it, how is that? Because obviously there's a bunch of people there and they all know each other and you come in as the new girl at school, right? Mm-hmm. How was that experience?
Well, I think when we were in Australia, I've already been, a few months, and there's been there's been a lot of testings.
So you had the whole gang already, yeah?
Yeah, there's been a lot of testings, and I was at all the testing, so you get to know all the people from the team and stuff like that. But of course, it takes some time. Like, you always need to build those relationships with the team, with the drivers, with everybody. And but I also feel like that's one of my strong sides, that I'm good at building those relationships. So I had a really nice welcome. Nice. Yeah.
And as well as being a very frothing surfer, you love the gym and keeping fit and stuff. What are you doing when you're on the road at those races?
When I'm on the road, I usually sometimes we get the first few days I might be able to go to the gym early morning at the hotel, and then usually Thursday and Friday when we're on track, I get to run the track. So that's really nice. So one of my colleagues, we have a goal that all the races we add, we need to run the track.
Wow. And how long are the tracks?
They're around 5.2, 5.8, something in between there.
Kilometers?
Yeah.
Okay. I should have done some research for this. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, this is good. Some of them are super flat and some of them are very hilly. So.
Okay. Oh, really? Nice. And when you were in Australia, there was also Hayden Cox was involved. He made some boards for the team as well.
Yeah.
And Steph Gilmore was at this race as well, I believe.
Yeah, so they're both Audi ambassadors, so they were at the race. So yeah, it was nice to see them. A few familiar faces from the surf world. Obviously, I've been meeting Steph a lot of times through the World Surf League and stuff. So it was really fun to see her there.
Oh, super good. And so what's your next travels? Where are you going next?
I go to Miami next week.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And from everything I gather, that seems to be the one that is gathering the most momentum in terms of it being Miami, glitz, glamour, American Formula One race. It seems to be the one to be at, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. So so there's a lot of preparation and stuff right now. But
nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
And when you're on the road, how does your team look then when you're capturing content, when you're putting work out into the world on social channels and stuff? How many people is it you're working with?
Well, it depends on the different races and stuff.
Okay.
So it's really depends on how many things there's outside, covering the race weekend and stuff like that. So so it's a bit different from race to race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so then how has the transition to Zurich been? Because obviously here you're by the ocean, Zurich you're landlocked, but full of mountains and beautiful lakes.
Yeah, it's been different.
Yeah.
I had to, as you said, I had to like find something else than surfing that, you know, I love all sports. And so right now, like, yeah, typical, like I feel like everybody's getting into that now, but I'm really getting into high rocks and CrossFit.
It's okay. Nothing wrong with the cliche.
But yeah, I think it's just easy for me.
Yeah.
You know, I know what time it is at. I go straight after work and work out, and I can also, you know, as I say, I can run and do that sometimes when I'm on the road as well. So it's really nice. And then now when the summer comes, I'm excited to get into mountain biking. Nice. I live really close to the lake, and so it's been super nice, but it's also hard moving to a new place, and you know, you don't know anyone, and I've been away so much, so you don't have that same, maybe also like when you're then back there, you're tired and you maybe not have that same urge to go out and like meet a bunch of people. So so I'm excited to hopefully get a little bit more time in there in the summer.
That's good. And Formula One, everyone has to take off 2 weeks in the summer. That's standard for the whole race
shutdown
calendar. Yeah. So they have the shutdown then and shutdown in December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So you do get some time then.
A little bit of time, yeah. But then it's also always juggling. You also want to come back here. You want to go back to Denmark, and
So how do you do it with surfboards and surfboard travel? Because obviously wherever you go, you want to surf a bit. Do you have them left around the world, or do you carry boards with you?
No, like I have a few left here. Mm-hmm. I have some in Denmark. I have some in Zurich, and then when I was in Australia, and I was quickly in Indonesia in between two of the races, and got a bit of surf. And Hayden from Hayden Shapes, he was very nice to lend me some really nice boards there.
I mean, I keep tagging him on Instagram. He's not sending me any boards yet. He's not sending, and I even bought one for my son. But anyway, so if we can go back a bit, because when we first met, you were working. I keep saying Copenhagen Cartel, and it's not that.
No, that's a bikini brand.
That's a bikini brand, which is stuck on my brain for some reason. Who were you working for before?
B Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
It was called BTX Group. It was a big, fashion house in Denmark.
Okay. And what were you doing for them?
I worked as a marketing manager.
Okay, so remote.
Yeah, I was like, I could do most of it remote, so I got hired in the middle of COVID. So I was here and figure out that it actually worked all right. And then when I had the opportunity after like COVID slowed down, I tried to go back to Denmark like every 6 weeks or something like that for meetings and meeting with the team. But most of it I could do from here. Okay.
And then at some point, I can't remember which one came first, TED Talk or move to the world of surf. Or did it all happen at once in one?
It kind of happened all at once. Okay. I think the first, it actually all happened at once, I feel like.
Okay, what year was that? Because I know, was that 22?
No, so the first Nazare event I did for World Surf League was 2021 December.
True, yes, because Wes called and he was looking for someone to help.
Yeah.
And you answered the call.
Well, you answered the call.
And said, we've got someone for you. Nice. Okay, so that was what started all the surf.
I still remember you guys were about to go to Austria the next day. We were sitting in your house drinking snaps with Uttrup and Sarah and Ross and everybody. And we were a few snaps in. Yeah. And then Wes called you if you knew someone.
Oh, you've got a better memory than me. Yeah.
You do it. And then you looked at me and I had to go there the next day. Yeah. And I was a few snaps in, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do it."
And what were you doing in that? What did you have to do up there?
So I basically just had to help them run social. So they had a team working remotely, but because Nazare is always like, "Oh, it's yellow alert. They call us on tomorrow." So they They were not able to send anyone from the team from the US. So they were looking for someone to be on ground, and so it was basically also doing interviews with the athletes for social, just doing some clips and here and there. And and so I just went up there and did that. And then I sent everything back to the guys who are remote, and they posted it and stuff like that. And
nice.
They hired me a few times that winter when there was a big swell in Nazare. There was another event, I think in March that year, 2022. And I think from working with that, I got the idea that I could actually do this and I could pitch that idea elsewhere.
Okay.
And I had already the year before and that year, and 2020 and 2021, I had done 2 feature films with Corona Studios.
Apt, considering the time of the COVID lockdown. It's very apt, Corona, COVID.
Yeah. So the fear of Corona. So I had some great contacts in there, and I was still in contact with them. And then suddenly, it was because I did a feature film with them that was about like my story.
Yeah.
And that got into a big film festival and nominated for a prize in the UK. And they asked me if I wanted to go and like kind of cover it on socials and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So I went to the film festival, and then while I was there, I got the idea that, wait, Corona is sponsoring, they're the headline sponsor of 3 of the World Tour events.
Yeah.
So I got the idea to pitch them the idea that I should go to these events and cover the event for them.
Okay.
And that's how it started. So then that summer, I went to El Salvador and South Africa with Corona.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I did my TED Talk as well.
Okay.
So I went and gave my TED Talk, and I flew straight to El Salvador for my TED Talk.
Wow. And was there, because at some point then you quit your old job, right? Like we're going back a few jobs here, but the B Copenhagen, right? So was that another of these sort of moments where it was like, okay, because I remember at the time you were a bit kind of like, do I leave a job which is pretty safe and take the leap? Like, how was that?
I think I was really at this point, I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. Like, we can also come back to a little bit of my story and my TED Talk. But I wanted to share that more. And I started also, after my TED Talk, I started getting booked into some schools. And so I was like, really, okay, I would love to do this more. And then I would love to work more with surfing and coming back to the sports world, because working for B Copenhagen and BTX was like an amazing chapter. I learned a lot. I was there for, I think, 2.5 years. But I also always knew that I wanted to get back to the sports world. So it was, it was part of the journey, and it was part of a learning I had to go through. And then, after these events with Corona, I was again in Nazareth for an event. I think it was World Surf League, and I met the guys from Red Bull, and then we connected, and then one thing took the next, and then suddenly I got a contract with them to cover big wave surfing for Red Bull.
So
surfing.
then that was a moment you could kind of say, right, I definitely have this income, I can leave this part behind.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, now I feel confident that at least I have something, and it was time for me to go all in. Yeah. So then I gave in my notice to the Danish job and finished that, and then started working full time with myself.
Nice. It's still very daunting though, right? Like that moment where you kind of say goodbye to a monthly paycheck and then hello to
uncertainty. Yeah. It was scary, but I also felt like, I think I always knew, like, okay, I have this drive, and I'll figure it out. Yeah.
That's really cool. I heard a thing today. Someone said that fear is like a lake which is a mile wide but an inch deep. So it seems like super long, and you think you'll actually never get it, but you put your foot in the water, and it's actually not that scary once you put your foot in the water, because it's not that deep. So not sure where the analogy came from, but and then so your TED Talk. So as you say, so everything sort of was happening at the same time. I think I remember the same day. I'm not sure if we were at Pedro Branca going for a walk, and then you said, I think I'm going to sign up to try and do a TED Talk. And obviously, so you had your story, which we'll touch on shortly, but so you had your story, which Corona had made a film of, which got entered. And that's someone else telling your story, obviously with you, I suppose. And this is more you, through your own words, standing up in front of a few hundred people to tell your story. Mm-hmm. So what was the sort of motivation to do that? Because having been to TED Talks, they're very prestigious, and you have all kinds of speakers come to those things. So what was the thing that made you decide a TED Talk was for you?
I think once I shared my journey, so going back a few years, I shared my journey in an article, and then that article got picked up by Huffington Post.
Oh, yeah.
And then when it got posted there, I got contacted by a lot of people who was like resonated with my story, and I got a lot of good feedback, and I think that kind of was like, oh, maybe I actually have something to tell,
Yeah.
and I think then it's kind of just snowballed from there. Then I did the feature film, but I was always like, oh, I would love to tell this story on stage one day. And then when COVID came, I was kind of looking to learn something new, There was not much to do. And I suddenly connected with a woman on LinkedIn, Joanna, who was a speaker coach. And she had this speaker program, which was like 5 weeks long. And for me at the time, it was a big investment, I don't remember what the cost was, but it was like, okay, this is an investment. But I was like, okay, I think this is worth it.
Yeah.
And she seemed really cool. So I signed up for the course. I really loved it. And also met really cool people throughout the course. And she confirmed me like, no, you have a really, really cool story that you should definitely tell on stage one day. And then she actually connected me with a guy who was in charge of a big event in Norway, a big health conference, and they were looking for a keynote speaker. Mm-hmm. And then he contacted me and was like, would you be interested in speaking in this big event in Norway?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. And he was like, so what is your rate? And I was like, well, I never spoken from anyone.
Charge? Yeah.
So I was like, so I asked him, can we make a deal? Instead of you paying me, I want you to pay Joanna to coach me.
Oh, wow. That's very forward thinking.
So I was like, that's going to get me, I think in the long run, that would be better for me than charging him. Okay. So that's how it started. So me and Joanna was working together for that whole fall to get ready for this event that was in November 2021. Yeah. And so the first time I gave a keynote, I was standing in front of 2,000 people.
Wow. And how were you, before you did this public speaking training with Joanna, how were you in terms of speaking in front of people?
Well, I never done it before.
Okay, so so it was all completely, okay.
Yeah, so it was all new, but I always, I was always like the kid in school, like when you had an oral exam, I was like one of the kids who was like, yeah, I'll just nail it.
Okay. So you were confident enough.
Yeah, I was always I liked speaking in front of people, and I liked giving presentations and stuff. Like, I'll get nervous, but I would. Yeah. Yeah.
But did you have any, what do you call it? Did you have any characteristics which you had to eliminate from how you speak?
I think it's very interesting going through such a, extensive speaker course, because you suddenly get aware of so many things. Like, for example, how I just said like, like, it's so scary in the beginning that you film yourself, you get so conscious of everything you say. You'll see that when you have to edit this podcast.
He's doing it. I'm not editing. I could not imagine, because I say so often. Yeah. And I probably say like too much.
And she had this AI program that we work with where I was practicing my speech throughout the AI program, and then after, it would give me like a count. Oh, you said like this many times. You said this many times, and you're like, oh my god,
holding a mirror up to yourself. Yeah.
But I think that was also super helpful, and I used that so much, also in whatever, like presentations and interviews when I also been interviewing athletes on live TV, and so it gave me that confidence that okay. Yeah.
Would public speaking be a skill that you would advise everyone get?
Yeah.
No matter where you're going in your career?
Yeah, I think it's so valuable.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean that you have to stand on a stage in front of 2,000 people, but even in a room and you have to give a presentation at work, or you give an interview. I think there's so many benefits from it, or just speaking in general and how you express yourself.
Yeah, I always think if you have the ability to communicate and you know roughly what you're doing, you can go a long, long way. I saw this at Nike a lot. Like the people who could speak in front of, as you say, like 2,000 people and convey a message, they were just like on a completely different path. Like it's like such a cheat code. So I'm already trying to get my kids, if there's opportunities, like don't be scared. Like be the one to stand up and say, I'll speak, as you did when you were young. So, and then the TED Talk itself, how many people, see I did it there, how many people were in the crowd for that? And where was it?
The TED Talk was in Germany, and I don't know how many people there were. It was not as big as the other one. I think there was around 300 people.
Okay.
But then the big thing is there, obviously, that you get filmed, it all get out on all TED's channels and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was also a bit of the nerve-wracking. You have this one shot.
And obviously everyone else speaking there is also very, very good. And then you also have, there's TED Talks, people haven't been, is a huge production, right? Like there's a lot of people, there's cameras everywhere, and the ones I've been to in Portland, they were so perfectly done, succinct. People aren't missing words. As you say, people aren't saying like and every 5 minutes. It's fascinating to go to, I've always found. Fuck me. No, I just do it all the time. I need a new crutch word. That's what they call it, right? Crutch word? Yeah.
But it's funny when you start noticing it. But it's also really annoying when you start noticing it.
Yeah.
Because then you notice different nationalities. How they say different words.
Yeah. It's funny because we actually paid for someone at work to have speaker training with Iona, and she had an amazing experience, and she's the most confident person now, and it's amazing to see. At the time, I was like, I think I wouldn't mind to get it as well, but I'm similar to you. I think I'm fairly confident speaking in front of people, but I had that exact fear. If I did it, I think I would be overcome with like self-doubt because of just the amount of poor articulation I have. So I just said, I'll wait for later. Yeah. Maybe.
This podcast will do it for you.
This will do it. I mean, you're already helping me here. No. So you spoke about this, you spoke about your story. I've watched your TED Talk, etc. But I think for everyone who's watching this, going to read the book, it would be amazing just to explain a little bit about your story, what happened to you, because it feels like that's been one of the worst things, but one of the best things that happened to you.
Yeah, I think, of course, it's the worst thing, but I think what I learned from it and how I dealt with it has led me to where I am today.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll try to go over it quickly, and then if people who want to learn more about it can go see my talk or something. But yeah, so I grew up actually as a professional horse rider, or like competitive horse rider. When I finished high school, I just really wanted to go professional. Got offered a job in China to ride horses imported from Europe, competing them, riding them over there, and also teaching a bit of horse riding in China. So I was 19, and I was like, all right, sounds like the dream. I get to travel. I get to do my sport. And so, yeah, I moved to China at 19.
Which already in itself is quite a move.
Yeah, never been outside of Europe.
Yeah. Having been to, because this was 19, I forget how old you are, but this was 15, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Sorry.
Okay, 15 years ago.
Okay, sorry.
And so in itself, it was a crazy experience. Yeah. But 6 weeks in, things changed. I was in a really, really serious car accident. And luckily, I don't remember much from this. I just remember waking up in the hospital and not knowing where I am, just getting a phone to my ear, which is my dad on the other end, who is just in full panic, haven't been able to get hold of me for like the whole day. I was so young, so they called me every day, my parents. And I'm just like, Dad, I think I fall off a horse. And then I looked like down on myself and I'm like, oh no. And then suddenly it hits me like, no, the last time was that I was out driving. And I just say, no, Dad, I think I've been in a car accident. And then I just pass out. So that's all my parents get to know at this stage. And so, yeah, their story is also, they could also tell their story. Sure. That's also crazy. But I also had a lot of luck in this really heavy situation that I was teaching some kids horse riding at the place where I worked, and there was a woman there. I was teaching her daughter, and she was the main doctor at the university hospital. And at this point, I had come into like a really small country hospital, and she called me that day just to ask me out for dinner or something like that, and the doctor answered. Oh, wow. And she was the first person who could tell them in Chinese who I was, why I was there, and they actually wanted to operate on me because I had so many internal bleedings and a collapsed lung. And she was just, no, don't touch her, just keep her alive till I'm there. And so she came, sat with me all night, made sure I was stable. The next day I got transferred to her hospitality, and there I got, the CT scan, everything. And suddenly my mom was there as well. She had managed to get a plane out, so she was there. And when my mom came, she was the one who told me that it was only me and the driver who had survived the accident. And the two other passengers, one of them being the guy who owned the project I worked for, they had passed away in the accident. So that, when my mom told me that, obviously my whole world broke down, and we were in China for another 2 or 3 weeks before, my lungs, everything, I was cleared to get on a plane and back to Denmark. And I think coming back to Denmark, that was like when the real recovery started, and all the mental recovery. But at the same time, I said, this is like 15 years ago, there was another stigma around like mental health and therapy and stuff. So when I got home, I also got offered, to talk to a crisis therapist and all this. And I was just like, no, I'm fine. I can handle this myself. I'm not crazy, And so I did. I handled all this by myself and in my own way. But I was like, one thing, and I had a lot of fears, like coming back from that. I'm sure. I remember, I was, every time my parents left me, I was scared. I was always afraid something was going to happen to people. But then at some point I was like, okay, I can sit here and I can be scared. I can, face it head on. Yeah. And I was like, okay, there's one thing, I don't want to be afraid of traveling. That was a big thing for me because I had always dreamt about, seeing the world, traveling. So I decided that I was going to go to Australia and learn how to surf. So, of course, my parents were like, are you sure about that? Yeah. That sounds a bit crazy, but they really supported me and was, okay, they were just proud of me for, wanting to do that, even though it was really hard for them to let me go. And so I went to Australia, and that's when I started surfing. And I think because I gave up horse riding after the accident, because sometimes you come out of something and you just realize, okay, there's other things in life that I also wanted to try. So I decided that, and that was a really hard thing for me to admit to myself, that I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, because it's been part of your identity for so long.
It had been part of me as long as I remember.
Yeah.
And so I think then surfing became my new identity. And, anyone who's had horses or horse riding knows that you dedicate a lot of time to that. Yeah. So suddenly I had all this time that I was just like, I never used to have this much time, Yeah. So I put all that into surfing, walking down to Bondi Beach with my soft top every day. I was just very determined to learn how to surf. And then, I did.
And what were you doing when you were in Australia for money, or how did that?
I got a working holiday visa.
Okay, nice.
I was working in an ice cream shop and surfing.
Yeah, not a bad life.
Yeah. So that was good. And then I saved up a little bit of money, traveled around in the end of the trip. Yeah. And then after that, I went back to Denmark, and then I also started finding a surf community in Denmark that I started surfing with. And then I went back to Australia to study a year abroad as well.
Okay.
And then eventually moved here, and
I always think it's for parents. I think about my own parents, and I think, I've met your mum, I think about your parents. It must be how calm you have to be when the shit hits the fan. Our kids are 10 and 8, and something bad happens, and you're like, oh, but, if this was in China, or, I broke my neck snowboarding when I was 24. I remember I called my mum from the hospital, and they were like, I was telling her, they've got to operate on my neck and fuse the vertebrae, and she was just like, oh, well, you'll be all right. She didn't, and they
Don't
didn't
panic.
No, exactly. And I think now, if that was me, I'd be absolutely freaking out. But I think for you to then go to Australia, your parents as well must have been
Yeah. Sometimes I'm also always I'm so grateful how much they supported.
Yeah.
Everything I've
no matter
been
what
doing.
you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing where my mom was like, I'm drawing the line, was the day I told Nazareth. She was like,
oh, really?
You're not getting into this.
Really? Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
That was the first time I was like, I didn't she was like, I don't want you to get into this. I was like, okay, don't worry.
Yeah, the horse riding, the surfing, the big wave surfing. I get it. There's a line. And you mentioned you studied abroad. Where did you study originally? In
Denmark. So I started my uni in Denmark, and then I took an exchange year in Australia.
Okay.
And then I took my whole master's degree here in Portugal.
Oh, you did? Mm-hmm. Where did you do that?
In Lisbon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume that was all in English. And what did you study?
So for my bachelor's was international business and communication.
Yeah.
And for my master's was a master in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you studied in Bondi? Or
no, northern Sydney, a university called Macquarie University.
Okay, very good. And then and you said you had 2 stints in Australia. The first one was are we going to call that the foamy chapter? What was the second chapter? Still foamy, or was there
no, that's shortboard chapter.
Shortboard chapter, okay.
Yeah.
You're standing up now,
Yeah, I was starting to get it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Right. And when were you really surfing is, because you said your identity was tied to horse riding. When did surfing become the identity?
I think when I started university back in Denmark, because I had just came back from Australia.
Yeah.
And, I was already my hair was bleach blonde, and
yeah, you're like, I'll be the surf girl.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I might as well just lean into this identity.
Yeah.
So and then I was spending every weekend going up to Klitmøller and surfing and stuff like that. So it was just I think I just really loved the community around it as well.
And how is the surf community in Denmark? Because normally having grown up in England where we don't have snow and mountains, there's an amazing snowboard community somehow. I assume the same is true in Denmark. Like, it's not that I should know this, but you don't have epic waves, do you, in Denmark?
Well, we have waves.
You do?
Yeah. Actually, you'd be surprised how many good days of waves we have.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's a really cool community around it.
Nice.
And I think just the surf culture in Denmark is a lot, it's not necessarily just surfing. Like, people will shortboard, longboard, paddles, wing foil, kite surf.
Yeah.
They're just anything they can do in the ocean based on the condition, because there's so much coastline in Denmark.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wind as well. So if you know a few of these things, you can always be in the ocean.
And is it cold?
Yeah.
What are we talking? 5 mil wetsuits?
Oh, 6.
6? Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
the water is colder in Denmark than it is in Norway because of the Gulf Stream.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, so it gets like proper slush ice in the winter.
Oh, yeah, in Oregon we had to wear boots and gloves.
Yeah.
And hoods.
Boots, gloves, 6 mil, 7 mil gloves and boots. And yeah, it's really fun.
Oh, wow. Okay. Amazing. Okay, so I've got a few questions which I'm asking everyone as we do this book. Thank you also, Emilie, for being the first person to come and do this with me.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
You're very good at holding your own feet to the fire, but I think you're even better at holding someone else's feet to the fire, because I was like, okay, am I going to start another project? Should I? And then you were like, I'm here for 7 days. I was like, okay, cool. If I'm going to do it now, I have to do it. So
let's do it.
Thank you. Maybe you've already been through all of this, but what was the most difficult moment to overcome on your journey? And I suppose, how did you overcome it?
I think, now I just touched, I just shared my story quickly. And I think one of the biggest thing to overcome was, after all of this happened, I stayed very silent about all of this for many, many years. For 7 years, I didn't tell anybody about it.
Oh, really?
Very, very few people knew that I had this story. And, I think for me, it was a bit like I didn't want to burden anyone with it. Sometimes you have something that, like, a bit of a heavy story, and people are like, oh, well, you don't have to tell me about that. Or, and I also didn't want to be too vulnerable with all of this. I was... I think in general, sport can be a very masculine space, and you sometimes, especially when you're younger, you feel like you have to live up to that all the time and be, the tough girl, and as you said, goal setter. This, I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah.
But this story was always on repeat in my head. I was thinking about it every day.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just like, okay, I need to get this out of my head. And so I started writing it all down. And one of my best friends, I studied with her in Australia, and she's an English teacher in the UK now, and she's an amazing writer. So I sent it all to her, and she called me back, and she was like, this is amazing. I'm going to help you turn this into
oh, wow.
We just need to structure this, and you need to share this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we worked a little bit on it, and we structured this as an article that, okay, I was really happy with it. And then there was this essay contest in a surf magazine. And I was like, oh, I might as well try to send it in, not thinking anything of it.
Yeah.
I wake up the next day, they sent me an email like, oh, we already posted, it's amazing, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh no.
Who was it with? What was the title?
It was a 6X surf magazine. They had this contest, and then you won something. And I was like, oh no, I was like, there's so many people that doesn't know about this. I was like, I didn't feel ready to share it. So I was like, the first thing is I need to tell my parents, because obviously the story also involves them, right? And so I called them, I sent it to them, and they just called me back crying. I was like, this is amazing, we want you to share this. And then I I shared it, and a lot of people was like, wow, this is and then I think in that I found out that how much strength there was in it also to own my own story.
Yeah.
And that because I showed some vulnerability and stuff, that actually just made me stronger. But that took me a long time to learn that.
And have you had other people reach out with maybe not similar stories, but some kind of adversity where they had kept it inside?
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Especially then after they got shared in the surf magazine, as I said, then Huffington Post shared it.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And after they shared it, I got contacted by a lot of people who were like, they had stories that had nothing to do with my stories, but everything to do with overcoming something, or, felt like my story gave them the courage to maybe do something about something. And that was, I think that also gave me, oh, wow, okay, I want to keep sharing this.
Yeah, because you can then help others.
Yeah.
Done it again. So then I suppose to that point you learned about vulnerability. Is there anything now that doesn't matter to you anymore that used to be important to you?
I think everyone's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think when you're younger, you worry a lot about what everybody is thinking, and of course, you, like it matters that you want to be a good person, but I think I don't ask everybody for advice anymore.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be hard to listen to my own voice if I ask everybody for advice.
Yeah.
But it also means that I don't need I try to keep all the noise out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have people that you go to for advice?
Yeah.
And are they close friends, or are they, I don't know, people you know? If you know what I mean, like.
Yeah. No, I have some close friends that I really value their advice, or just talk through it. It can also be like not necessarily an advice, but like talk through a situation. And then I go a lot to my dad.
Okay. Oh, you do? Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I find it as well, like there's certain people I ask for different things who may not be the closest friends, but sometimes that's also good because they can have a very objective view of things. They don't need to be your friend at that point. They're just telling you what they think, which is quite nice because sometimes, if you try and please everyone, you end up maybe not doing what you actually want.
Yeah. And I think I had to really overcome that also, when I was working for myself, I felt like, okay, also with the TED Talk and stuff, it was important for me to suddenly also start thinking about my personal brand and start being visible on LinkedIn and, starting writing and stuff. And there you can have a little bit like, what will everybody think about all this I'm saying and stuff like that. And I had to just learn to, that doesn't matter. If I'm true to my voice and what I want to say, that doesn't matter. My words will resonate with the right people.
And you've spoken a lot about building personal brand. You've also worked with Jack Robinson.
Yeah.
And a couple of others, if I'm not mistaken.
Casper Steinfeld, some other athletes,
And because I've heard that said a lot, what does it really mean to people? Like if you're just listening to this, like, what is this personal branding that people keep talking about? Is it just how you show up across digital channels, or what's the?
No, for me, I think, of course, digital channels is a place for you to be visible, but the personal brand is so much more. Yeah, it gets how you show up in daily life, in here, in you have to, I guess, like to create a personal brand, you really have to be like, okay, what do I want to say? What is important to me? What's my values? What's my message? Not just when it comes to social, that's like in general, right? But social is a platform to use to getting that across.
So same as if you had a small business and you would sit there and you'd do your mission, vision, position, your values, similar to that.
Yeah. And for me, it became an important tool in like, when I was working for myself, that, okay, this is, people go and find me and they see, okay, she has a cohesiveness in the way she talks, the way she shows up and stuff.
It's interesting because when you work at a company, you will spend a lot of time doing that for the company, but very few of us will actually spend the time doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, was there a moment in which, or what was the biggest moment, because it sounds like you've had a few of these, where you had to just sort of say, fuck it, I'm going to go for it? And which was the biggest fuck it?
Well, I think I had a few times where I was like, okay, I need to change, and now we're going for it. I think obviously the first was going to Australia.
Yeah.
The first time was, that was a really hard decision, and I was just like, okay, it's time to go for it.
Yeah.
Second time was probably moving here to Portugal, and I was like, okay, I'm doing it again, leaving everything behind. And third time now, leaving to Zurich, and I think it's, it's not a certain moment where I'm just like, oh, let's leave everything behind. It always came with a build up, with this urge to, as I said earlier, to make a change, to do a change, and then, you start taking small steps and sorting things out also, like inside of you. Okay, why do I want this, and where does this gonna take me? And then at some point you're like, okay, now I'm never gonna be fully ready, so I might as well just do it now.
No, exactly. I think that's the thing. There's so many things you do in life where you wish you had everything figured out.
Yeah.
Because I remember that day we met at Breakpoint, and you were like, I've got to sell my couch, my car, get rid of my apartment, all this stuff, and it's, I guess there's no straight line to it.
No. And if you wait for those moments, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till I'm ready, I think you'll just never do it.
True. That's a good way to live. Got two more. Okay. The best advice you ever got?
The best advice. Okay, can I share two?
Please.
Okay. So I think something my dad always used to tell me, also like growing up, he still tells me to this day when I get nervous about something. And he calls it the 5 Ps. It's proper preparation, prevent poor performance.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yes, very good.
And I think when I get nervous, like let's say going into my TED talk, and I get nervous, and my dad would just tell me like, but did you prepare properly for it?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah, well, then you're also going to perform good, So it always gave me some kind of calm, because I knew, okay, if I put in the work, I'm also going to perform.
Yeah.
So it kind of calmed me down in the situation, because I knew, okay, I'd done everything I could.
Yeah.
So there's no need to be nervous about the outcome.
Yeah. That's very good. There's another way of saying that. How does the other one go? Fail to prepare. No, prepare to fail, fail to prepare, or something. Your dad has it much more succinct than me.
The 5 Ps. It's easy
the 5 Ps.
It's easy to
That's good.
to
That's all
remember.
you need if you need a strategy. 5 of something. Okay.
Yeah. And another advice was one I got from Paulo Dubairo, who used to be my surf coach. And I remember he once told me, he's like, if you want to be a better surfer, you need to always surf with people who are better than you.
Good point.
And I was like, yeah, because then you push yourself. And I think I took that advice also into other situations, in work, in life, blah, blah, because I think sometimes it can be very uncomfortable to not be the best. Like we want to be the best in the room. Like I'm super competitive, I want to be the best. But if I put myself in a room full of people who are like better than me, or surfers who are better than me, my competitive mindset will also be like, oh, I'm going to see that as an inspiration and be like, okay, I also want to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're probably seeing that at the moment where you're working with this new role, because you're obviously now in amongst the best in the best, and those moments probably will level you up as well. So
yeah, exactly. So I think, I loved that advice as well.
Nice. Cool. Okay, what would you tell your teenage self?
My teenage self. Oh, there's many things I'll tell her. I think one thing I would definitely say is that it's okay to have big goals and dreams. And maybe that you don't need to have everything figured out. And you don't need to know the road there, but like as long as you just keep taking small steps towards that and do everything with passion. And you know, I think a lot of young people are really in a hurry to like get somewhere, and you know, you don't stop up and see if that actually align with what you want and stuff like that. And I think, you know, my whole journey, I taken my time to do things because I always done it because of my passion for sport, or my curiosity for something. And so I definitely tell her to like, yeah, it's okay. You don't need to hurry through everything and try to have everything figured out.
Because yours definitely seems like a chapter. Like I can imagine a physical book about your life. And because it's like everyone has a specific chapter. Like I think a lot of people's it blends, and yours has like nice beginning and ends of sections.
Yeah, that's true. And then I think I would also tell her that you don't have to please everybody. And that, you know, you're not for everybody and everybody is not for you.
Yeah. Amazing.
I think,
Okay, that was succinct. I think that's good for me. We can leave it there. Thank you so much, Emilie, and sincerely,
thank you.
I really appreciate you making time, because I know you're only here on holiday, / working, and you took the day off for me today, so thank you.
Yeah, sitting in this dark room, sort of
the sun is out, and there is mini waves, so I hope you get to go on a longboard and have a nice afternoon.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Jan. Thanks for asking me to come.
You're the first person in the second book, so now I need to get my shit together and do a whole book. So one down, 49 to go.
Okay, let's go. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for listening to the Anti-Blueprint Project. It wouldn't be possible without people like you listening, reading, and supporting. I haven't actually figured out where this whole thing is going to live yet. The one thing I do know is I have an Instagram channel for it, so it's very simple. Instagram at the Anti-Blueprint Project. I'll be updating everything there in terms of where you can watch episodes, where you can download podcasts, and eventually, when I get around to it, which I hope is going to be in the next year or two, where you can buy the book. So the Anti-Blueprint Project on Instagram is where we're headed. Thanks so much.